Okay, so I ended up deciding that I might as well show up a schedule. This is going to be a tournament recap, but I should go ahead and explain to you what to be expecting in regards to the future of this game or of this channel. So over the next couple of weeks, I have a couple videos set up or I'm working forward to making well into the future. So first off is obviously the combo tutorial that I have promised a couple of people. This deck needs to have its combo tutorial, and I haven't put it out yet. So that's one of the most important things that I'm doing. Number two is a deck breakdown, a full-on breakdown in regards to this deck's options, choices, what we can expect, what we would like to see, and what you should side, what you shouldn't side, and the obvious variants in regards to the deck. Obviously, the techie variants like the Salamangreat, the Orcust, and the Pure Frog build will not be mentioned in it. But if you do want to see that, do go ahead and comment that down in the description below, as I do love having an explanation as to what you want to have forward in regards to this. The Orcust build, I don't like very much. Salamangreat build ends up being something that actually intrigues me, but I don't want to go ahead and say that it's a good build. And the Frog build is just straight up gimmicky. Obviously, there are builds like the Hand Trap build, Invoked build, and Hero build, other than the Pure build that I am running, that are all very viable in regards to the deck. But I want to go ahead and show off the reasonable deck breakdown in regards to that. And that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a deck breakdown. The obvious choices that you should be making in regards to the deck, and then the choices that you could be making depending on what build you want to be running off of. The deck profiles I've been working on, I do have a couple of friends that say that they do want to go and profile for me, and they want to profile their hero deck. I can't promise you when that's going to be up because he's building the deck as right now, so it could be any time in the future. I have Battle Wasps that I'm actually working to build forward. I don't know how much I have in regards to that deck, but I do have to make sure that I need a couple more cards to make sure that we have that deck profiled. And I am going to try and convince my friend to put up a Fire Fist deck profile and stuff like that, because I do like that deck. One thing that I really want to be working forward to is actual gameplay videos. I do love Prank Kids, and I do love this deck, so most likely this deck will be in almost every game or every video for the next foreseeable future. But maybe when it comes down to the little bit in the future, we might be seeing some more techie decks, such as my friend's Infernoid, or even... well, I can't promise the Infernoid deck, as he's very close to that deck. Or even the Battle Wasps or Fire Fist facing each other, which would be pretty interesting. Like I said, I am working on building this deck. It does require a little bit more work for me to find out a proper build for it. Now down to the tournament recap. Obviously, this deck, second place, like always, best Prank Kid player in Arizona. There's nobody else out here that can rival my ability to play this deck. And I have shown proof multiple times against other Prank Kid players here in Arizona that I am definitely the best. Round one was against Infernoid. Opponent didn't know very much how to play against it, even though I've played against him more than once. Pretty much, he kept trying to remove my monsters off the board because he ran the Lair of Darkness build. I out-resourced him, and it pretty much went down to that. Round two, which was the most frustrating for me, it was against Gemknight FTK. He FTK'd me game one. Game two, I OTK'd him, and then game three, I sighted in about 6 or 7 cards, saw none of them, my opponent FTK'd me. So there's nothing I can say in regards to that because it requires him to open up God Hand every time, and he opened up God Hand all 3 games, but I managed to OTK him in one of them. Round 3 against Thunder Dragon. pure Thunder Dragon, not like Orcust or the uh, Danger variant or the Crusadia variant. Game 1, he Dimension Creepered me, which actually really hurts. That is the worst promo against the Prank Kids that hurt us the most, because we don't have ways to recur resources if they're banished. Game 2 was long enough that I managed to draw it out to time, in which my opponent decided that we were going to roll for it, and I decided that was fine, and I won the roll. And then round 4, spicily enough, I played against, at top tables, the Prank Kid mirror match for some reason. Now, this was the grindiest game I've ever played playing this deck. That even is against Sky Strikers, because Sky Strikers, at their full power, still could not handle this deck as much as this deck can handle this deck. This deck has so much interaction in regards to itself. The ability to roaster your opponent during their turn, the ability to butler your opponent during their turn, and then they do the same thing to you, so you have to recur the same number of resources as they do. It's insane, because neither of you are able to OTK the other, because the other does not have the ability to go and clear your board. So it's literally poke and burn. Your most damage that you're doing in one turn is 500 damage, because your opponent's going to heal and burn, and you're going to deal 2,000 damage or 25,000 damage, which means at most you're hitting each other for 1,000 damage at a time. The life points fluctuate so much that when it came down to time, I beat my opponent by exactly 1,000 life points, because I managed to resolve a drop one time more than he did. That's it. That is the entire complexity of that deck. The mirror match is the grindiest thing I've ever seen. However, I ended up coming out on top in regards to my tech choices compared to his. He decided to run Effect Veiler, while I decided to run the Utopia package, the Reasoning, and most of all, the... Where are you? The Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is crazy in the mirror match because my opponent does not have the ability to stop it whatsoever. So what happens is they have to go into a Bow Wow and then force out me using a Bow Wow during my turn, or during their turn, so I don't have to use my Bow Wow. And if they summon anything, I use my Bow Wow. So the entire concept is forcing the opponent out of playing the game because the opponent opened up worse than you, or better than you. The opponent actually, since he ran the Ash Blossoms and the Effect Veilers, he did not have a way to counter the Mystic Mine, and slowly over time, I out-resourced him enough to just barely get a hold of him. I roasted him 3 times. I butlered him twice. I managed to call by the grave his butler, so he could not butler me more than once. And I think that moved me forward enough to win the game. But I myself did not have a way to out-resource the opponent because of that. The mirror match is very important because not only do life points matter, knowing what prank kids you used, your opponents used, what prank kids you can use, what prank kids you should use, what cards are in your opponent's graveyard, what cards are in your opponent's hand, and the amount of prank kids in your opponent's deck is crazy because you have to manage yours entire side of that and your opponent's entire side of that, because they are going to be Roxy's banishing, they're going to be Butler recycling, they're going to be Roaster recycling, they're going to be Bow Wow, Doodle, Washer, and Rocket recycling. If it wasn't for Mystic Mine, I feel like I would have gotten a lot more behind than my opponent, but because of this card, I move forward faster than my opponent over time. One thing to say, though, I do love the mirror match. All of my friends know I hate mirror matches in regards to any deck. However, the mirror match for this deck is so fun because it's not just resource management, it's life point management, it's knowing when the opponent has the combo, knowing when the opponent can counter your combo, and expecting the Called by the Grave at all times. So you always have to set it up so that even if you do the Called by the Grave, your opponent's going to be losing profit too. Do remember, if you Called by the Grave one of their Pranked monsters, you lose that Pranked monster effect during your next turn. So if you have something like, I don't know, if you Called by the Grave their Bow Wow during your turn, that means you're wasting your Bow Wow during their next turn because you can't activate it. And it's incredibly important because the resource management for this deck is insane. Anyway, realistically, I love this deck. Got second place, got 2 OTS packs, and another one of these World's Prize Card Field Centers, which I honestly love. Its design is amazing. I decided to put it in a clear sleeve, but apparently, like somebody ended up explaining, it works with the background with it. So this one is in a pink sleeve, so it's got a pink background. This one's clear, so it's actually a lot more clear in the background, but it's more pink. Apparently, if you put it in a blue sleeve, it'll turn more of a purplish instead of the pinkish. If you put it in an orange sleeve, my friend ended up having it as a red background. It was really cool, and honestly, I did not know that about that. Other than that, I want to thank you so much for your time today. And this is Pranked Duelist trying to make Rogue decks meta. Thank you. Have a good day.